All right, what's up, gentlemen? Welcome back to Biology is the Secret series. This is episode 4. It's all about posture correction. So rub those sweaty little paws together and get excited because this is where we get to actually put in some inputs that are going to directly translate to our aesthetics changing. Now, obviously, episodes 1 through 3 were crucial. So make sure if you haven't watched those, you go back and watch them. Okay, we need to be able to optimize our gut health, regulate our nervous system, optimize our hormones so that we have as much bandwidth as possible to go towards growth. If those survival systems aren't in order, then we're not going to have the energy that's going to lead to the development the way that we want to. So make sure you have those things in alignment. Now, if you've been watching along, obviously you've seen these changes. Obviously, I made a big change to my facial structure. My cheekbones have changed position drastically. They developed upwards and forwards. My gonial angle made quite the change, which makes my jawline pop a little bit more, gives me a little bit more of an aesthetic facial structure. Okay. Now, same thing with my physique and the way that it looks. Reducing that chronic inflammation made me look that much leaner. Correcting my posture made those lower abs show a lot better, and I have a much more attractive waist to shoulder ratio, as well as development in my face. Okay. Now, when I talk about this transformation being impossible without correcting my posture, I truly mean that wholeheartedly. This is super, super important, and it's why it's the first video I'm dropping in the series about inputs. Okay, your posture is the foundation of your physical appearance. If your posture is misaligned, then so is your biology. Bad posture is going to lead to multiple things that are not going to be good for your aesthetics. Poor aesthetic proportions. Just gave you the example of, waist to shoulder ratio. If we have anterior pelvic tilt, we're going to look a lot blockier. That is not very aesthetic. Chronic stress in the body. This is going to make us look more inflamed, right? Not aesthetic. Asymmetry in the body and face. If one eyeball is up here and the other one's down here, not very aesthetic, right? If your face is all twisted to the side, do I look very handsome like this? Probably not, right? And of course, your inability to rest your tongue on the palate with force. This is absolutely crucial when it comes to developing your facial structure upwards and forwards. Now, all of these things in tandem lead to underdevelopment and, more importantly, poor health, right? And anything that makes you less attractive, anything that makes you less healthy, makes you less attractive. Why? Because we are hardwired to pick the healthiest mate, right? This is a biological system. This is what we use to survive over generation. All right, so it's hardwired deeply into us. Now, what characteristics make a man objectively more attraction? Again, this is biology, right? So don't be upset about it, okay? This is just how it is, right? Now, people will say these things are shallow, but again, that's cope, all right? So what characteristics make a man objectively more attractive? Height, shoulder to waist ratio, athletic leanness, straw jawline and cheekbones, thicker facial hair, deep set hunter eyes, facial symmetry, clear skin, straight white teeth, and a full hairline. Okay. Now for women, what makes them objectively more attractive to us men? Waist to hip ratio, body fat distribution in their chest, thighs, and glutes. Right? There's a reason why we like that shit. Not just because you're a dirty pig, although you might be. On a biological level, you sort of have an excuse. All right. Clear skin, high cheekbones, full lips, facial symmetry, and then full hair. Okay, again, contrary to popular belief or cope, being attracted to these traits isn't always shallow. Please don't be a shallow individual, right? Understand this stuff so that you can leverage it to your best ability so that you can, of course, improve your life, but don't be a jerk off, all right? Again, it's not shallow, it's biological. So physical attractiveness is essentially the brain running a subconscious survival and reproductive scan in about 0.2 seconds flat, right? So when a woman sees a man with the traits that I listed above, her subconscious biology thinks this man can survive, he can compete, win, and keep me safe, right? If you were a woman 2,000 years ago and you picked a complete doofus who couldn't do shit, then he died, well, you're shit out of luck. You're fucked, okay? And of course, when a man sees these traits in a woman, his subconscious biology thinks this woman is healthy, she's fertile, she's likely to produce strong offspring and survive childbirth. Again, if you had your wifey way back in the day and she wasn't healthy and attractive and she died, that would make you very sad. That would lead to depression. And of course, then you're not going to be able to go out and, hunt and do the things that you would be very effectively. So you wanted to keep your girl alive so she could take care of your kids, all those type of things back in the day, right? So again, this all ties into our biology, right? It's not just shallow shit, but we're wired to be attracted to these certain things, right? And that's important to keep in mind as we go through this entire rest of the series, but makes sense why our posture is going to help us look more attractive. Now, overall, the brain has learned over thousands of years that these traits signal, low inflammation, strong development, long-term health, which equals better genes passed down and better odds of survival. Now, posture improves almost all of these traits, even in indirect ways. So we're going to break it down. Now, particularly, we're going to look at this diagram right here, okay? This diagram shows somebody with poor posture. Now, what this person actually has is they have anterior pelvic tilt in the hips here. And because they have anterior pelvic tilt, a few things are happening. Their spine is being compressed, right? And this is going to make you shorter, okay? The other thing it's going to do is it's going to lead to a forward head posture, right? The eyes in particular, they want to look and they want to see the horizon in a flat way, right? That's how we view the world. Now, if our hips are rotated down, then our hips going to come forward, our neck is going to come forward, and our head is going to tilt up to keep that quote unquote alignment, to keep our vision flat, right? And overall, the head and the way that it is projecting forward is going to lead to bigger looking eyes. It's going to lead to everything being recessed and coming backwards and down. Because again, if I have my posture like this, and then my head comes forward and looks up, everything starts to fall back into our throat, including our tongue. That's when we end up with a recessed mandible, with a recessed maxilla, all those things that make us less attractive, okay? And then, of course, this leads to that blocky waist that I talked about, right? So if we can just simply correct our posture, we're going to fix a lot of those things, right? And if our tongue is resting against the roof of our mouth, our teeth will even get straighter, and overall, just the lack of stress in the body will reduce acne, different things like that. So the specific changes that I got just from correcting my posture alone, I grew about 1.2 inches in height. My shoulder to waist ratio improved. My jaw lines and cheekbones became more defined because my hyoid bone raised, right? Due to my tongue being, again, on the roof of my palate correctly, and my eyes became more hunter. Now, the hunter eye thing in particular, people love to talk about this, right? All this is essentially perspective, right? Because if you are, again, forward head projection and your head resting up, well, now how do my eyes look? There's a lot of eyelids showing, right? But if I'm in correct posture, my face is flat and chin is slightly tucked in the way that it should be, then I'm looking a little bit more through my eyebrow bones, right? And that leads to less eyelid showing and more of that hunter eye look that people talk about, okay? So you don't need to do this weird ass shit, okay? But we can correct our posture and we can achieve the look that we're looking for. All right, so there's a very, very simple 3-minute routine that we're gonna use to fix our posture. Unfortunately, I couldn't connect the video to this, but if you go to my Instagram, the pinned video I have, it's somewhere around 200,000 views on my main Instagram page. It gives a live demonstration, right? Now, I have some images here, so lock in, don't worry, I got you. What you're gonna do, you're gonna go against the wall and you're gonna place your feet about 4 to 6 inches away from that wall. All right, now what you're gonna do is you're gonna touch your tailbone against the wall with your hips in neutral alignment. Okay, remember, so we want our hips flat. We achieve this by subtly clenching our glutes, pushing our hips forward, all right? Look at yourself from the side with your phone and make sure that your pants are on the right way, but it should be completely flat, all right? Now, once we're in that position, all right, there's a pointy part on the back of our head. I want you to feel it right now with your hands. If you're having trouble, literally touch your chin to your chest. You should feel a tendon on the back of your hand when you rub your hand left to right across the back of your neck. Follow that tendon up and you'll find a pointy part of the back of your head. Now, once our feet are 4 to 6 inches against the wall, our hips are in neutral alignment, what we're gonna do is we're going to press our pointy part of the back of our head as high up on the wall as we can. All right, and then we're gonna hold form 1 for 30 seconds, okay? So our palms will be facing up, our elbows against the wall, in that chin tucked position, and we're just going to hold that for 30 seconds. Once we do that, we're gonna switch to form 2. So we'll touch our shoulders, we'll bring our elbows up as high as we can, and then we'll roll them down and we'll hold that for 30 seconds. After that, we will switch, reach up as high as we can, try to make sure your arms are as straight as possible, right? Literally reaching as high as you can, keeping that pointy part, against the wall, and then you're gonna touch your thumbs, right? This should feel uncomfortable, especially if you have particularly bad posture. You should feel almost a little bit of strain and burn in that middle back area, in the back of your neck. It might be hard to swallow, especially if your hyoid bone is low and your tongue is in improper position. These things will improve over time. Just make sure that you do them every single day. If you can do them twice, 30 seconds each form, in the morning and before bed, that is going to get you the best results. Right now, there's also a couple little exercises that we can complete in the gym. We can do dead bugs. We can do 90-90 box breaths, and we can do some dead hangs as well. All those things are going to help decompress the spine. When you're doing your dead hangs, just try and tuck your chin. Of course, be careful because, again, when you do these things, for the first time in particular, it's going to be very, very uncomfortable. And sometimes you might even get a little bit lightheaded with the dead hangs specifically. So just make sure that you are conscious of what's going on. Now, when you exit this movement, when you step away from the wall, you need to try your absolute best to remain conscious and keep that posture locked in. it's probably going to feel a little bit weird. You might feel like you're looking down. You might feel like you're overly tucking your chin. That's because you have built a subconscious mechanism essentially to hold your posture in a particular way. And now you are consciously breaking that. So it's going to be uncomfortable. Right? You also have what's called fascia that aligns your entire body. Right? And that fascia hardens over time to support those structures because your stabilizing muscles have it. Right? And when that fascia starts to break up, it can lead to like little soft or sometimes it's like slightly sharp pains. Right? If you turn your head left or right, you might feel it. Okay. And again, these things are normal. It's nothing to be concerned about. If you are concerned about something, you're wondering if it's normal, again, send me a DM on Instagram and I can help you out, make sure that you're not messing your body up, right? But you shouldn't struggle with that issue. Expect a little bit of discomfort. All of that's normal, right? Over time, those muscles that are holding you in incorrect posture will relax. They'll lengthen over time. Your spine will decompress. You'll stand up a lot taller and you'll feel a lot better. Right? Your hips will start to change to the correct position and your chin will, like I said, be in a better position. All right. So set some posture checks. This will be one of my, recommendations to you, right? Before or after you sit in a chair. I apologize. When you sit in a chair, check and make sure, okay, subtly clench my glutes, slightly push my hips forward even when I'm sitting and tuck my chin, right? The way, again, that modern society has designed things, it puts us in terrible positions more often than not. So if we can put ourselves in the correct position, make it a conscious thing, we'll see results faster over time. Okay, but again, doing this exercise when you wake up, one time before bed, having posture checks throughout the day. Maybe you sit down to eat, you correct your posture. Maybe when you stand up to walk, you correct your posture. Just set little, times for yourself to correct those things as you go through the day. All right, during exercise is another good one. Now remember, as a base, we want slight glute activation, a subtle forward push to the hips, shoulders back, and our chin slightly tucked. All right, and if it feels like we're looking down at first, that's okay. Our body just needs time to recalibrate. All right, so again, super, super simple. It takes literally 3 minutes a day for you to do this. All right, if you're having trouble with sticking to these routines, implementing these things into your day, if you're having trouble with accountability and doing them consistently, then you're not going to see the results quite as fast. So if that's the place that you're in, I want you to go into the description. I want you to follow me on Instagram, send me a DM. Okay, I can help you out through that. If you're like, hey, you know what? I know for a fact I'm going to need some accountability. I'm going to struggle with this, and I want to just make sure that I see the results as quickly as I possibly can, then go into the description below, and I want you to book a call with me so we can speak one-on-one about me helping you out. All right? But implement this as soon as you can, and you will correct your posture in as little as 2 to 4 weeks.